The last Waffenträger. This isn't really a mode that you'd play to get some insane rewards from. It's more so a mode you play because you want to play the WTF E100 in pubs, but you also want to play it as the raid boss in this mode. That's right, you get to play as the boss. So, the last Waffenträger is a mode where you and a team of 5 are tasked with destroying the boss. This time though, the boss is controlled by a player. You can play as either a team or as the boss. Both are fun if done right. Now sometimes Wargaming likes to change these modes, so check the pinned comment to see if anything has changed. What's interesting with the last Waffenträger is that it's really easy to win as both the team and as the boss. First, if you're going to play as a team, you must pick what tank you want to play. What I'll be calling the Foundry, even though that's not how it's pronounced, but whatever. The Foundry is the best. Not only does it have the biggest autoloader, but its two abilities are the best by far, those being the speed boost and the shield. These two consumables mean that you can make some of the most insane plays. The other tank I'd consider is the TVP, because it has heals and is more bursty. Now you might be wondering, Chems, I thought you said heals are supreme. The Foundry doesn't get any heals. Wouldn't that make it not as good? Well, don't worry. When you capture a generator, you get healed to full, so you actually don't really need heals. To defeat the Waffenträger, you can't just shoot it. You will not do any damage. You must first destroy its shield. So, how are you gonna do that? You do this by going to a generator, killing all the guards there, and then overloading it. So basically, you just overload the generator by capturing it. It's a cap circle. Once captured, the Waffenträger shield will be disabled for 60 seconds. That's when you try to do as much damage as possible. Now here's a pro tip, and I see this all the time. The entire team rushes to capture the generator for some reason. Congratulations, you captured the generator in 10 seconds. However, the Waffenträger is on the complete opposite side of the map. You now have 60 seconds to damage him, of which you will spend 40 seconds just to reach him. What? Okay guys, try to use your brain for a second. If someone is going to overload the generator, wouldn't it make sense for the rest of you to, I don't know, get up close to the Waffenträger, waiting for the second his shields drop so you can farm him? Guys, you only need one person to cap. At most 2 if he's coming directly for you. The rest should be waiting close by to jump him, even distract him a little bit. I've had games where everybody understood this, and by the end of the 60 seconds, he had lost more than half his health. Such an easy win. It's also not in your best interest to farm bots too much, because every new wave of bots will be stronger than the last. And it'll just keep getting stronger and stronger, so it's gonna keep getting harder and harder to overload the generators. The only benefit to overloading a generator more times than is needed is that everybody gets a 25% increase to their alpha damage every time a generator is overloaded, and this stacks 4 times, so you can get up to 100% more damage, which means twice as much damage. So in other words, if you overload 4 generators, you will be doing double damage. However, this bonus is lost if you died, so don't die. Even though you can respawn, it's not worth losing the damage bonus. And when you play the Foundry, it's very easy to survive because both abilities help you do this, right? The speed allows you to get close to the Waffenträger or get away from the Waffenträger quickly, and the shield allows you to make bold plays without taking any damage. That's really all there is to it. What I like to do is buy my team time by constantly harassing the Waffenträger. See, if it was a bot, it would just drive to the objective. But since the Waffenträger is actually being controlled by a player, who are usually worse than bots, you can fool them into chasing you all over the place while the rest of your team takes out his shields. When you are deciding where to go, pick a cluster that is the furthest away from the Waffenträger. That way, he won't interrupt you while you are killing the guards at the generator. Speaking of being interrupted, here's another thing I noticed that drives me right up the wall. If a Waffenträger appears at the generator that you are trying to take, there's absolutely no way you're going to capture it if he's around. All of his weaponry is designed to reset the cap. Just leave. go to a different generator and then come back to this one later when he's left. Or, alternatively, someone in the foundry can hang back, dance around the Waffenträger at his own generator, while the rest of your team goes and captures another. It really boils down to distracting the Waffenträger and then swarming him when his shields are down. The Waffenträger has 4 attacks, which I'll explain here. The shield blocks all of these attacks to some extent. The main gun is a 5-shot autoloader that does 750 alpha damage. It can usually 2-shot anybody unless it low rolls. EMP arrow. It does very little damage, but it has a splash radius like the old HE, so it is best used to reset players that are not in direct line of sight. And it also stuns. Now remember, the stun can be removed with a repair kit. EMP blast creates a zone around the Waffenträger that stuns anybody who's in it. And if you are very close, it also damages them. Again, the stun can be removed with a repair kit. The Hyperion, a massive death ray that kills anything it's targeting, shoots 5 times. Now, the Foundry's shield can only block 1 Hyperion blast, so the best option is to run, since it takes a few seconds to warm up. Now, the Waffenträger also has the ability to teleport anywhere on the map, but it has a very long cooldown and a very long startup as well. So when he's teleporting somewhere else, you will know a few seconds before he does, which means go to where he was last positioned. If he's teleporting away from where he currently is, then drive to where he is currently. That's where he's not going to be. Now, let's use your brain for a second. If you're trying to capture a generator and you've got like a minute left, and then you see the Waffenträger teleporting, well, where do you think he's going to teleport to? He's going to teleport to the base you are capping. So it's actually, and it's quite hilarious, as soon as he starts teleporting, just leave the cap circle and drive to the other side of the map. By the time he teleports, he's just going to be left alone, and he just completely wasted his time. So, you want to play as the Waffenträger, do you? Well, you'll have to unlock it with a key. You can get a key by completing missions, paying for it, or the best and easiest way is to just play on an unpopulated server, and after a while, in the queue, the matchmaker will offer you a free key. NA server for the win. Anyway, I have never lost a single game as the Waffenträger, even though they nerfed it. Except for the ones where I died on purpose. The main thing you need to do as a Waffenträger is to kill everybody at one zone and then quickly rush to the next zone and kill them again. You are trying to run the clock. When the timer runs out, you win. Now, do not play passively. You will just allow them to take out your shields. Now, even if you are playing super aggressively and you're all over the place, teleporting, Hyperion, whatever, there will be a point where multiple generators are available to cap. You just can't help it. That's just how it is. Obviously, you can't be at all of them at the same time. So when it comes to it, and your shields are about to be destroyed, before your shields are destroyed, because remember, you cannot use your abilities when your shield is down. So when you see that they're capping and they have like 10 seconds left, just teleport as far away from everybody as possible. This will mean they will have to spend the majority of the time your shield is down just driving to you. Rinse and repeat. Attack a generator, and by this point, you can use your Hyperion on another generator. Now, if the timer runs out while there are players capturing a generator, they will get overtime. So use your Hyperion to force them off the cap, which will end the game. Otherwise, if they don't leave the cap, they will die to your Hyperion, and, well, the game will end anyway. And honestly, that's all it takes to win in the Lost Waffenträger.